Tired of the same old games and contests? Do you really need to increase revenue for your event? Or are you just looking for some good ideas? Well, you've come to the right place. Hello, everyone. My name is Phil Immordino, and welcome to the GTAA Champions Forum. This is a webinar where we discuss all of the details and specifics about your golf outing. We've had a chance to work with thousands of tournament planners over the years, and we have one simple mission, and that is to help you produce the best golf tournament possible. We see what works and we see what doesn't work. So our job is to bring that information to you. And so in today's webinar, we're going to discuss how to make more money with games and contests. It's an area that sometimes we overlook. We really don't discuss it or talk about it much. We throw together a couple of games and we see what happens. But I want to take a specific detailed look at games and contests and how do we raise more money with them. So we're going to look at what are games and contests. We're going to look at why do we actually need them? How many do we need? On what holes do we use them on? We're going to share some new games and contest ideas. We're also going to share some money-making games and contests. Then we're going to have a little bonus. How does hole-in-one insurance work? I know many of us have it. Some of us have wondered about it, but how does it actually work? And then we have a special treat because we have the #1 hole-in-one provider in the world with us today to share us a little bit about that. So the good news is today's call will be recorded. If you have to leave early or if you want to share this webinar with your committee or other people, you're going to get a link afterwards. We want to encourage any questions that you have. If you do, use the Q&A tool at the bottom or feel free to email me afterwards and we can sure answer any questions that you may have. We know that your time is valuable, so we promise you we're not going to waste it. So let's get started. So first question. What are games and contests? Actually, some of us take that comment and those words for granted. We think, oh, okay, let's put together a close to the pin or a long drive, and we really don't think much about it. But there's much, much more to the purpose of games and contests. Games and contests are great tools to engage golfers, and that's really the key. We don't just have them just to have them, but they're ideally designed to engage golfers. So what is and what are games and contests? Now, the definition of a game is a form of play or sport, especially a competitive one played according to rules and decided by skill, strength, or luck. Now, what does that mean to us? Bottom line, in our case, an opportunity to give away a prize, to get people involved, to give them something for participating. What is a contest? An event in which people compete for supremacy in a sport activity or particular quality. In our case, who wins the tournament? First, second, third, whether that's individual or team. So with games and contests, our philosophy really should be to engage as many golfers as possible, to get them involved. Now, the first question, I'm going to get it out right away because everyone asks, how many games and contests are too many? Can you have too many? Well, here's the answer to that. It depends on the event format. See, if you're putting on a serious competitive event, you don't want as many games and contests. You don't want to distract the golfers. Look at the PGA Tour. They'll have maybe one hole-in-one contest, but they don't have close to the pin or long drive, although that would be fun, but they have separate events for those type things. But the more the competitive, the less the games and contests. The more fundraising, the more fun, the more games and contests you may want to have if they're making money. But we got to be cautious not to use too many games and contests that's going to cause a delay of game. You've been to tournaments where they take 6 hours just because they're not organized. The games and contests take forever. So I'm saying you can have as many as you want as long as it keeps pace of play going. I participated in a really fun convention event where it was hosted by the Convention Bureau. Every hotel, every restaurant in town was a major sponsor. There was a contest or a game or food or drinks on every hole. People really didn't care much about golf, but it was just a fun event because there was something to do on every hole. Now, I'm not suggesting that you have something on every single hole, but it's not the worst case scenario if you're just trying to have fun. But if you're trying to make money, then obviously you've got to be very selective. So the next question is, why do we even need games and contests? What's the purpose? What is the reasoning? Well, we mentioned the first one, to engage golfers. We want all golfers involved in our event. They connect with you. They connect with your cause if they're doing something different. Don't get me wrong, but most people are not serious golfers. And so playing golf for 4, 5, 6 hours can get a little monotonous. But if you've got different games and contests, it gets them engaged, what makes it a lot of fun. Number two, it builds memories. See, I believe that people are going to remember that game or that contest that they won over the 5 hours of golf. Oh, sure, they'll remember your tournament, but they're going to get excited about that one contest that they participated in. So it builds memories. Three, it's just exciting. You all played in golf tournaments. You've seen how they operate. It's just fun to kind of get around a par three and everyone's jumping up and down when they try to win the car or get close to the pin. So they build excitement and they give something for the golfers to talk about. So excitement is another good purpose for games and contests. It helps you make winners. Can I be 100% honest? The bottom line is you want as many winners as possible. Why? Because winners come back. However they win, whatever they win, they're going to remember that. And they're going to come back the following year to win again. So your goal is to make as many winners as possible. And then finally, and I think the most important, is to make money. I believe that if you do games and contests properly and the right ones, you can generate an additional 20-25% to your bottom line. But you have to pick the game selective. Obviously, we've all heard of the typical games. We've used them, we've seen them. There's the long drive, there's the straight drive, there's close to the pin, the long putt, skins games. All those are great, and there's nothing wrong with them. But in reality, they don't make money. So we've got to figure out, how do we make money with these particular games, and maybe even some new ways to make money with some new ideas. Here's just a couple of fun new ideas. You may have heard some of them, you may not, but hopefully it'll be a good reminder. Beat the Pro. Beat the Pro can be big money. There's companies dedicated just on bringing pros to your event where big money can be raised. Charities International is one of them, where they send these pros, these long drive champions all around the country, and charities make several $1,000s with Beat the Pro. I don't know if you've heard, but this is one of the, and I won't even say new anymore because it's been around for several years, but the cannon gun is a huge way to make money. It's simply shooting a golf ball out of a so-called mini cannon, and it sometimes goes 300 and 350 yards. Fun way to make money. Chipping contest. You know, we rarely hear about chipping contests. I like to call them skills challenge. So maybe it's before the event, could be during, maybe even after, but a skills challenge, which includes a chipping contest. Circle the hole, circle hole around the pin. Great way to make money. Hit the ball in the circle, win a prize. It's that simple, usually done on par threes, but there can be money made with that game and contest. Don't know if you ever heard of hit the marshmallow as your drive. Instead of a golf ball, you want to hit a marshmallow. Now, I want to encourage you not to use the really, really soft ones. You got to let them stale for a couple days, but that can be a fun way to make some money. Pay the pro. Instead of trying to beat the pro, which usually none of us can, why not pay the pro? Bring pros out to pay them to hit the ball for us. Happens all over the country. You've got the putting contest, not just you know, the close to the pin or the longest putt or whatever, but you can actually have a miniature golf tournament before your event or even after for big money. And maybe it's 3 or 4 holes. It could be even 9 holes. You can have a championship. It could even be a standalone event. But putting contests can make a lot of money. Another fun, quick one is you putt the ball with a pool cue. I'm going to talk a little bit more about how you promote that in a second. And then also how do you hit the ball with a hockey stick or putt the ball or even drive the ball with a hockey stick. Fun, different kind of games. And I know they're kind of silly, but again, some of these events are silly and they're designed to make money. So just some quick little new ideas. But the question is really, how do we make money with these games and contests? And there's just a couple of key points not to forget if you want to maximize the income with these games and contests. Number one, think about new games and contests. There's literally a million of them, gang. We have a book that has over 400 of them, and I can share that with you. But the bottom line is that there's games that make money and then there's games that don't. So try the ones that make money. Bottom line. And you may want to try a couple one year, a couple the next, but there's games that make money. So mix it up a little bit. Number two, very important, train your volunteers. We were talking earlier about volunteers are the secret to your success, and volunteers will be the key to your raising money. They need to be trained on how to promote and sell your games and contests. If you've got someone sitting behind the desk saying to the registrants, you don't want to buy a mulligan, do you? Guess what? They won't. You've got to get someone behind that desk saying, hey, how many mulligans do you want? And you'll sell a ton of them. So volunteers need to be not only trained and highly motivated, but I want to encourage you to think about an incentive for these volunteers. The volunteer that sells the most mulligan tickets or packages is going to, get a prize or get a trophy or win a trip, something. Give them an incentive, and you're going to see these volunteers selling like crazy. So that would be step number two. Step number three, do not nickel and dime your golfers. Okay, first of all, they don't carry a lot of cash. Rarely do we run around with a bunch of ones, a bunch of fives, a bunch of tens. So you can't be asking for $5 a hole on 5 or 6 holes. They just not carrying it. So here's the key: bundling. I suggest that you package all the things that you're doing, whether it's mulligans, whether it's raffle tickets, whether it's putting contest, long drive contest, whatever the case may be, bundle it and sell it in a package. I guarantee it, if you've got a dozen different games and you sell them in a package for $50, either on registration day or online before the event and the registering for your event online, just build it into the package or sell it as a separate. Most everyone will get it. And imagine an additional $50 per player, what that does to your bottom line. I mean, really, if you got 100 players, that's an extra $5,000 right in your pocket simply because of games and contests. And then so bundle your packages. Don't sell onesies and twosies because people aren't bringing cash. They bring credit cards, but not cash. And then number four, very important, get your games and contests and holes sponsored. Okay, sponsored. And I know we run around and we sell these little hole signs for $250, and that's cute and a nice little donation. But gang, there's not big money in a hole sign for $250. It's not even really a sponsorship. It's more of a donation of that $250. So bump it up to $1,000 and get a company to sponsor it. Now they've got a game to sponsor, they've got activity, they're meeting people, they're building relationships, they're networking. It's huge money if you do it right. If you could get 10 holes sponsored for $1,000 a pop, you just made an extra 10 grand. So get these games and contests and these whole sponsors. I'm going to give you a few ideas here in a second, but let me just quickly cover a couple of fun little ideas on some new games that make some money. Buy a drive. All right. Everyone's going to hit a drive. Typically it's a scramble and they're all going to hit it, but rarely do they hit it 300 yards or 350. So maybe you put a flag in the middle of the fairway, 300, 500 or 350 yards down, and they can buy for $5 to place their drive in the middle of the fairway at 350 yards. So you can sell or buy a drive if you're a golfer. The cannon gun. Cannon gun is a great way. They pay to be able to shoot this cannon and this golf ball. Number one, it's a hoot. If you've never tried it, look online. It's a blast. But imagine shooting a cannon and a golf ball 350 yards and landing on the green. Okay, they pay for that opportunity. They'll pay $5, $10 all day long to do that because it's fun. It's different. Gambling holes. Gambling hole is typically you're close to the hole, your par threes. You don't want to just do as close to the pin and you get a little head cover. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Why not do a gambling hole for cash? It's simple. The golfers will gamble that they can hit the ball within a 20-foot circle, and even more if they hit it within a 10-foot circle. So they bet $5. If they get it in the circle, they double their money. If they give you $20, they double their money. So it's an opportunity to double their money, but you're going to make a ton of money because, to be honest with you, amateurs can't hit the ball straight, especially under pressure. So you're going to make money. It's a gambling hole. It's fun. It's different. Hole-in-one competitions. You know, we all have holes. With 60% of golf tournaments have a hole-in-one competition. It's fun. It's either for a car or a set of golf clubs or whatever. But rarely do we make additional money with that. You can make a ton of money. How do you do that? Well, one is you can make a standalone event. You know, there are hole-in-one standalone events that are making literally thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars across the country because you've got people coming out just trying to get a hole-in-one. And it sounds crazy, but there's big money to be made. You can charge for the chance to win a car. You can charge for a chance to win $1 million. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. But hole-in-one competitions are a great way to make money. They just got to pay extra for it. Mulligans, we all know about mulligans. But the problem with mulligans is, well, here's the problem with mulligans. Okay, you sell 2 mulligans, but here's the bottom line. Everybody cheats. Now, I don't want you to get this outside this phone call. Golfers are cheaters, okay? They're going to buy 2 mulligans and they're going to use 5, okay? You got to stop that, okay? You can't be, you know, sending a marshal out watching every golfer, but instead of giving them this little ticket that they put in their pocket, give them a balloon. They buy 2 mulligans, they get 2 balloons. They use the mulligan, they pop the balloon. Boom. There's no question on how many mulligans they bought versus how many they've used. No more cheating. But then here's the key. You send someone around the back 9 and you sell emergency mulligans and you double the price. Big, big money maker. So that's a way not to be scammed on mulligans, which all of golfers do, use more than we buy. Pay the pro. Okay, I guarantee it. If you got a golf pro that can hit the drive 400 yards, you're going to pay them $20 to do it for your team. So bring in some local pros, bring in some national pros. There's all kinds of fun ways to do it, but you can pay the pro. The pro might take a few bucks. They may take 50%, 20%, but your organization is going to make a ton of money by paying the pro. Skills challenge. Skills challenge is so much fun. It's different. It's unique. You can have a chipping. You can have a putting. You can have a long drive. People pay a separate fee to be in a skills challenge. You win trophies. You win prizes. You can even win cash. Fun thing. It can be a standalone event. It can be built in before your event, after your event, but a skills challenge. And then some of you have heard, maybe you haven't, selling string. String is a great way to make a ton of money. You sell string. When they buy string, they buy it in 5-foot, 10-foot increments. Maybe it's $1 a foot, maybe it's $5 a foot, depending on your demographics. And you can move the ball with that string. Every time you use it, you can cut a piece of that string off and use the remainder. So people usually use it for putts when they want a gimme, but another great way to make some money. So think about those, but those are just a few. Again, there's millions of different games. I shouldn't say millions, hundreds of different games on making money. Now, I'm going to give you a few ideas on how to sell sponsored holes. Some of you may have used these, but a lot of these you have not. So think about getting these hole sponsors. You can incorporate any game, but here's just some ideas on some of those holes that you could get sponsored for big money. So one is a fun one. You can have a chef on a tee box. How great to have a chef cooking for you. I've seen it happen many times. Fresh food right off the grill. It can be sponsored by a local restaurant, maybe a local bar, maybe even a car dealer. I mean, someone who wants to impress you with some freshly cooked ribs or barbecue. It's just fun to do. Maybe it's just kind of a snack, hors d'oeuvres, whatever, but it's a fun thing to have a chef on a tee box. Another one is cigar rolling. Cigars are very popular with golfers these days, and you can get a local smoke shop to sponsor that. You can bring in a local cigar manufacturer or roller, and there are a lot of them out there these days, and that can be big money for you. The cornhole throw. Cornhole, I can't figure it out, but cornhole is getting big. You know, there's professional cornhole throwers. Go figure. So you throw a bag of corn in a hole. It's big, it's popular, but more importantly, it's fun. And I see a lot of bars sponsoring this throw. So you get the little cornhole holder and a couple of bags, and you put it on a tee box, and a bar sponsors it, and they can win prizes. Go figure. Drinks, any type of drinks. You can have mixed drinks, you can have shots, you can have cocktails, whatever. A local restaurant, a bar can sponsor this kind of stuff. Fun thing, great way to mingle. Be careful not to have too many cocktail holes out there, because by the end of the hole, not only will your golfers be hammered, but then they got to drive home. But that brings up another idea. Get Uber or Lyft to sponsor your event. Free rides home. Great concept. All right. Drive the ball with a baseball bat. I've seen this done with the local baseball team, whether it's the minor leagues or the professionals. They want to sell baseball tickets. So you maybe even bring a couple of celebrity baseball players out there, and you have the opportunity to hit the golf ball with a baseball bat. Crazy, but it works. Another is a free throw. You can have a free throw at the tee box. Build a little basket, and maybe your local basketball team wants to sponsor it and sell some tickets. Same thing. Hit the ball. Hit a tennis ball with your club or with a racket. Either way, local tennis teams. Maybe it's a private country club who sells tennis memberships and wants to sponsor that. And a fun little contest. Who can hit that tennis ball the farthest? Another way to make some money. Big one, massage hole. You have massage chairs right there on the tee box as the golfers come through. The local massage companies rubbing the golfers' shoulders, and great promotion for Elements or one of these massage company chains around the country. Putt with a hockey stick. Okay, you can putt it or you can drive it or whatever the case may be, but hit the ball with a hockey stick. Putting works better, but that can be sponsored by your local hockey team. Another way to sell some tickets, or your local hockey league, which are popping up all over the country. Sampling is big. Especially new food companies want to get their products sampled. This is huge at PGA Tour events. So why not local charity events? You can partner with your local supermarket and get all types of sampling done, whether it's jerky, whether it's salsa, you name it, they're sampling it. Great way to tie in not only sampling, throwing a game, being sponsored. We talked about shots. Again, be careful with not too many of them, but can be done. Local bar. Tee it up in the fairway. We talked about placing the ball in the fairway. You can sell that. That can be sponsored by maybe even a local car dealer who wants to give their golfers a little bit extra boost on that one particular hole and get some exposure. Throw the ball out of the sand. What a great concept. We can rarely get it close to the pin by hitting the ball out of the sand. So why not pick it up and throw it? Charge money for that. Get it sponsored. Another way to make some money. And then wine tasting, the ever popular wine tasting. Local breweries, local wine distributors, great way to make some big money doing that. So these are just a few games. Again, there's hundreds of different games, hundreds of different concepts. You can not only have the game and make money, but you can get them sponsored for bigger dollars. Stop selling these $250 hole signs that don't get you anywhere. Be selling $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 sponsorships, which includes more than a hole sign, a game, a contest, sampling, activities on a tee box, but a great way to make some money. So I promised you a little bit of a bonus. Hole-in-one insurance. Not complicated. Scary sometimes. We wonder how in the world does it work, but it's not complicated. And we've got an expert going to share the details here in a second, but it's a very simple concept. You can promise big prizes and not have to pay for them. It's that simple. You get them covered with a whole insurance company, and it's a fraction of what that gift or prize is going to cost. So the simple version is it's going to vary the price depending on the cost of the prize, depending on how many golfers, and depending on the difficulty of the shot. Usually done pitching, chipping, hole-in-one. But here's a small little example. This is generic. Don't hold me to this, but if you have 72 players and they hit on a par 3 at 165 yards, okay, the one that hits it in the hole to win $10,000, it's going to cost around $290. So that's the concept. But don't take my word for it. I brought in an expert. I brought in the number one hole-in-one insurance company in the world. They're now partnering with the GTAA. You may have heard of them, you may have not, but clearly they've got the best reputation. They're the biggest. And I brought on Nick from American Hole-in-One, who's going to share with us a little bit about how hole-in-one insurance works and a little bit about American Hole-in-One. So Nick, thanks for being with us. Glad you can make it. Please share with us a little bit about you, your company, and how you can help us raise more money.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. As Phil said, we are excited to be the official hole-in-one provider of GTAA. American Hole-in-One is a company that's been around in the industry for over 30 years now, have a tremendous reputation. We do about 20,000 golf events alone each year. People often ask, why are you guys the best? What are things that distinguish us from the competition? The first one, I think, is customer service. We pride ourselves on being the best that we can. When you book a policy from us, you get a checklist. You have a dedicated rep that follows up with you to make sure that you have everything in time. You have witnesses if you need them, all the things that you need to do. Speaking of witnesses, that's one of the things that differentiates us. If you have a policy that's $5,000 or less, we are a company that does not require a non-playing partner to witness it. So meaning you don't have to have someone that sits by the hole or by the tee box to follow that. Another big factor for us is short yardage. A lot of times what happens is, as Phil mentioned in his example, 165 yards. Let's say that you end up doing the hole at 150 yards and you're 15 yards under what you're contracted for. A lot of companies, if you should get a hole-in-one, will just deny the claim because you violated the contract. For us, what we do is we honor that, and what we do is take 4% per yard as a percentage. So if you're off by 10 yards, it's 40% of what the contracted will. You still get paid. Along those same lines on shots, if you are allocated and paid for 100 shots, and say your tournament has 120, someone gets a hole-in-one, again, we'll prorate it based on what ended up happening so that someone can get paid. Having a hole-in-one is a great experience. We want everyone at your outing, should they get it, to enjoy that. There's three basic types in terms of golf outings in regards to games you could do. It's hole-in-ones, shootouts, long putts. Hole-in-one events are relatively cheap, to Phil's point. Average hole-in-one is about $500. It's not very expensive. This is a brief chart that kind of highlights, based on some numbers, what the value was, how it works. The three main factors that determine the rate in terms of that are how many golfers you have at your event, what's the value of the prize, what's the yardage that you want to hit from. Another nice feature in working with us is we have things called bonus prizes. These are contracted relationships we have with some of the best names in golf: Bridgestone, Travis Matthew, TaylorMade, Cobra, where when you buy a policy from us for the one contracted hole, you also get complimentary bonus prizes that can be carried out at the rest of your holes. These are no charge to you, but they come with signage and a full policy so that on one of your other holes, someone gets a hole-in-one, they can win Bridgestone golf balls for a year. They can win a nice shopping spree from Travis Matthew, etc. A lot of other companies offer programs similar to this, but oftentimes what happens is companies will just go and buy a flat screen TV should it occur. We have actual relationships with these programs, which is another reason why people like to work with us. Prize packages, we have some of these things that you can offer for a long drive. You can purchase products with us. Again, this is something that we're able to offer through contracted relationships that we have with people in the industry. A shootout is a different little format where, as opposed to a hole-in-one contest where all of the members in your group are hitting for a chance to win the prize, a shootout operates a little bit differently. The concept of a shootout is typically higher priced, where you have things of $100,000, $250,000, $1 million shootouts. A lot of times people think they're not affordable, but I think what you can see here is they are. The way to facilitate one of these is offering a qualifier to determine who gets your shootout. This could be something simply as closest to the pin on one of the par threes, long drive on a hole. Depending upon the number of people you want, you can have those people come back typically at the end of the outing. It kind of creates a sense of excitement where the person who's designated as hitting that money shot can come back to the hole and shoot for $1 million or $500,000. Again, really kind of cool opportunity to enhance. And then the last version is putting contest. Having the opportunity in a similar fashion where you can have a qualifier event or offer it if you like a select number of people to come back. This can be done on the putting green or a particular hole if it's near the clubhouse or where an area where your group is going to be congregating from. Again, 60-foot putt can be really any value that you want. Really nice opportunity, again, to Phil's point, making money. All these contests, a great way. I think you can kind of see they're not overly expensive. Great opportunity to have a sponsor really get involved and cover the costs for you guys. The last thing that I will say that we do have too is that sets us apart. We have a 15,000 square foot in-house signage shop. So any signage that you guys need, whether it be hole-in-one signs, tee box markers, bev cart, we're able to facilitate those. And it's something that we include with all of our nice hole-in-one packages as well. You get a lot of signage to support whatever program it is that you guys are looking for. And again, as Phil said, we're happy to be a part of the GTAA. If you guys are ever in need for more information, there's a specific vanity email. You can reach out to us at gtaa@anu.com or my email there as well for your review. We're always happy to assist anytime that you guys have questions. So, Phil, I'm going to pass it back over to you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate not only you being here, but partnering with us because, it really benefits our members and it'll help them with their tournament and make more money. So I just want to add one thing, there's a lot of times I see tournaments will do a hole-in-one contest, but it's not promoted properly. Gang, sometimes you may get golfers who just want to win that car or just want to win that 10,000 or 25,000. So really, when you do that, promote it properly and you're going to get a lot more exposure. So before I wrap up, let me just remind everyone, we got a couple of programs that can help you. You may not be aware, we have a certification program for any one of you who wants to take sometimes your career, your event, and your business to a whole new level. We have 3 programs. One is a certified golf tournament planner. That's for someone who either works for a charity or a nonprofit, and they just want that accreditation. We have an in-depth training program. We're just barely scratching the surface here, but it's an in-depth training program that teaches you every aspect. And we promise you'll be able to produce not only the best event possible, but major events and get that accreditation that you can promote and tell people that you are a certified golf tournament planner. So if that's of any interest, let us know. If you're thinking about starting your own business, maybe you want to help others, but earn some money doing it, we have a program called a Certified Golf Tournament Consultant. This is someone who's an event planner and does it for a living. They're helping charities, they're helping associations, they're helping travel events. And that's a little bit more in depth, but we basically teach you and train you how to start your own business. And then finally, the Tournament Certified Golf Course. Speaking from experience, most golf courses in this country do not help us with our tournaments. Why? Because they don't know how. They're not taught that in PGA school. And so our program is in depth on how do you help your customers be more successful. Can you imagine if you actually offered a lot more customer service, not just the day of the event, but before the event even happens? Help them find sponsors, help them fill their field with golfers, because the more successful they are, the more successful you're going to be. So think about that. We'd love to help you. If any of those of any interest, let us know. The last thing I want to tell you about is our book. We have basically a new book. It's called The Complete Guide to Every Golf Game Contest, Tournament Format, Scoring Method, and Fundraising idea out there. We have over 400 of them. There's like 150 side games just for your golfers, just to play side games, and then different formats, different ways to make money. So we have an e-version, it's $10, and we have a hard copy for $20. Let us know if that's of any interest. Email me or go to our website and order it on our store. So let me wrap up by saying this, gang. I'm not only applaud you for being here, because that tells me you're dedicated about taking your event to the next level, but you're taking games and contests more serious. Because if you're serious about raising money for your organization, you can raise an additional 20 to 30% with games and contests if they're done properly. So think about trying some new games and contests. We have hundreds to try, not just the ones we shared today, but think about adding some new games. Train and give your volunteers incentives to sell more, and then bundle your packages, bundle them so that people aren't being nickel and dime, that they're buying one simple package for $50 and they can participate in everything. And then finally, promote them properly, and you'll make a lot more money. It's that simple. Engage your golfers. Winners come back, and we want to see you be as successful as possible. So we're here to serve you. You got any questions, please feel free to email us, reach out to us anytime. We're a free service. We're here to serve the golf tournament industry and help you better serve your communities by raising more money. So appreciate you, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 more weeks in our next Champions webinar. This is Phil Immordino signing off. Have a great weekend.